Now, and I believe that gets you on the lower floor. There's a lot of openness in this floor plan that we just want to stress to you. And by openness, I mean you'll be able to see clearly from, if you're here, you can see all throughout here. The receptionist has full control of everything that's happening here. Obviously, you'll have some security cameras and video footage of things happening in places where you can't get to. But that's the first floor. If you go to the second floor, there's an entry off of Ruffner Road. Since that 15-foot change in elevation that I was talking about earlier, it allows you to enter flush off of Ruffner Road on the high area, and then you can come to this vestibule. There's a large meeting room. Now, capacity for this is 1,600 square feet. The capacity for people in a meeting room of this size is about 230 people. So that's pretty large. It's a large enough space to pretty much do anything that you want to do in. Anything larger than that, I believe you can just take them all to the gym if you were trying to have some kind of larger assembly. But this is a pretty large assembly hall.
Let me comment on that real quick. You know, we talked about this meeting room, and right now, one of the things that we mentioned was if we were to have like a banquet, or if we had a large gathering, award ceremony, or something like that, we don't have anywhere to go in Irondale other than some more, I guess. But I figured we need something in the city that we can go to and possibly use for some kind of ceremony or reception like that. And I figured this would be a good
just
idea
invite our
for
districts.
just something to happen.
You know,
It'll be accessible.
a multitude of uses.
And also, these rooms will be internet, computer wired, and also our television in this room where you use that. And they'll also have a screen coming out of the ceiling, so if we have a meeting, you use the screen and projector.
Can we do partition off? Can we
And
partition
you
off?
can't. We just have to.
And will the weight room and all that, will that be enclosed?
Weight room is actually down
I mean,
over here. You overlook that, and the weight room itself it's not enclosed, but it's so far away that you won't hear. Once you're here, this is more of a quiet part of the building.
okay.
So yes, you have a track, but you can see that we brought this wall all the way down, so it covers up. So there's a buffer between the track, the loud noise that you hear out here, and everything, the quiet area that you have here. Have in here. We can treat these walls as well, the interior of these walls, put batting in it so that sound doesn't travel over. So we're really trying to make this area more of a quiet, off of the beaten path type area.
More professional.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly.
Yes,
It's,
gotcha.
it's cleaned up. It doesn't have the athletic feel to it.
Right.
So it just brings you into a whole more business type atmosphere.
Yes.
Coming back into these areas, once you and you can reach any of these areas from the first floor using this elevator here, or as you saw, there was a stairway that came out of the fitness area that brings you up here. So this is just a rail here, so you can look down over
Okay.
all of that.
Oh, that's cool.
There's also a rail on the track on this side.
That's a walking track.
That's a walking track.
And are you gonna look down?
You can look down into that. That's open.
Like trust? Okay.
Exactly, so that's open to below. This also is open. These rooms here can have windows cut into them, where you can look over into the pool as well. So it's just we like having a lot of views
Yes.
from everywhere. So you're not just in a closed off room. Now, again, if you need to have something with low light like here right now, you can close the blinds, do anything like that. So all the windows would have that. But this is a fitness room here. It's about 1,100 square feet. You can probably get about 50, 60 people, depending on what you're doing in here. You can probably get more than that, but
That'd be like for dance classes?
exactly, any kind of aerobics class, any kind of dance class. We'll have mirrors on the walls,
What
things
kind of
like that.
flooring are you putting in that?
So, wood is actually.
The floating one?
Yeah, that's what we're going to. If it's two schools of thought. One if you're doing high impact, and one if you're doing low impact. High impact, like what you're doing on the basketball court, you would go with wood. Low impact would be more of the rubber. to most squads, they have the wood, which is for high impact, so it's anyone who's stepping their legs way up in the air and doing things like that, you'll try to go with wood. And we found this out from talking to Covington Flooring and people like that, so. And it just makes a lot of sense. Now on this track, you will have a rubberized surface that goes around that. And on the fitness floors down here, you'll have that rubberized surface as well. So something that gives you a little bit more bounce. But in these fitness rooms, you'll have that wood.
But I know with dance classes and stuff like that, the instructors would prefer a floating wood
Yeah.
floor. That's
Yeah.
the best wood floor for
Exactly.
that. That, I know that would be one of our questions.
How big
And
is
the-
that track?
This track it's a 4-lane track, 3 feet apiece on each lane, 3 feet wide. And I believe if you go around this track 11 times, that's a mile.
Okay.
So it might be a little bit less than 11. I'd have to check again. I ran some back. Go around that about 11 times in this mile. This is actually a 12-foot radius right here.
The question, Charles, is can some sort of station equipment go in the corner?
Sure. Some kind of equipment can go in these corners.
Like
You have another
bike
area
or
right here.
motorcycle or something.
Stretching and stuff, something else.
Mhm. You have another area here. And these hallways are about, these corridors are 12 feet wide. Now, your normal corridor is probably about somewhere between 6 to 7 feet wide. We made it pretty wide so people can do things in the corridors and not feel,
Like you have to get 2 feet behind 2 feet.
exactly, you're not too tight to do anything else. This open area right here gives you a lot of space if you want to do any kind of stretching or anything like
So
that.
all that's open to the track, there's not a wall between all.
There's not a wall, that's all.
It's just railing from the track. and-
Exactly, there's railing here.
That'll look good.
To this drop down below, but other than that, there's all open area right here. There's railing, you see a well here and going down this one. So that, and you look over into this large area here, you can look over into everything. But that is pretty much, and again, it's, this second floor is about 13,000 square feet, 47,000 square feet. And all these numbers are backed off of from that $10 million number, which includes contingencies and everything like that, to make sure that we're not showing you guys something that would be more than what anybody is trying to ask for.
Here, excuse me, one second, Charles. You had the fitness room, we also had an activity room. You notice that?
I did.
Yes.
Right there.
Oh, yeah. okay.
Activity room.
Now, the
If
activity,
senior citizens want to come over, arts and crafts and things like that.
Well, unless, I want to discuss this further with you regarding the seniors and how they would adapt to that, because there's some things I love it, it's beautiful.
Right.
I'm a parking lot girl too, so this,
Yeah,
I'm
she's
like,
fine.
oh, I'm sitting there
That's fine.
drooling, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
But I'm right now in the senior center, and there are some issues that the seniors would say, we'd rather stay in our little building. But I'd like to discuss
Which
that with y'all.
is fine.
Which is fine.
They can come use the pool in the track.
Well, I mean, and that's what I would like to, there would be some things we could work
Yeah,
out.
they can use the pool in the track.
And, you know, we may want to need to use that sometime as a shelter, or if we had an emergency. And so, you know, I think that would be, you know, like for the seniors or whatever.
at Vesper, that was one of the things I was pretty paramount. In the event of it's not a storm shelter.
Right, no.
So if a hurricane hit it, it'll be just like any other, or not a hurricane, but a tornado hit it, it'll be just like any other building. But if in the event that the city went through some kind of natural disaster and it needed some kind of shelter afterwards, and this was still standing, you know, we can have a generator there, keep the power on, things like that.
I was thinking like during the snowstorm, you know,
Exactly,
people didn't have heat or whatever.
Yeah,
they
or a
could do.
warming station
Yes,
or
a warming
anything like
station,
that.
yes, absolutely.
So those things can happen in a building of this size. It just depends on what you'd like to see done. And again, we're showing you some stuff that it looks like it's pretty concrete, but it's not at all. This is all up to you guys. I mean,
It's conceptual.
Just conceptual.
It's beautiful, y'all done it fabulous, I love it.
Back on the baseball side.
Okay.
Just a question. Just from my point of view,
This is my baseball
Okay.
Going from 6 fields to 3 fields, not a benefit, really. The larger field, we really don't use.
Okay.
My idea for that would be, like, the kids that come up from middle school and high school, they play with us, they play pretty much, they start in June, and the season is short. I would say really scrap the big field for baseball.
Okay.
And we would probably need 4 fields for ages 3 to 12.
Okay.
And if you want to get multi-use out of them, really, I wouldn't put no mounds on them at all.
At all?
No.
Not even baseball?
No, use portable mounds.
Okay.
And that way you can have multi-use, because the base paths are different. A lot of things are different from different ages. And it's required by the organization we play in. So that's need to be thought about too. But for the most part, for our program, we benefit from 3 through 12, really.
Okay.
So 13 and a big kid, and that big field, really, I'm really not really concerned with it, I would say.
One issue you're also gonna have is the softball field down here.
We don't
The
have,
concession is way too far away and the parking is too far away.
Well, right now, the 12 played there now.
Yeah, I mean, when we played on that field, that was one thing, it was just like, I mean, we played Irondale.
Right.
And we felt, when we designed the fields at Reed's, I was a big part of that. And one of the things we had to do, it was like, concessions needs to be centrally located from all the fields. And I know it's really hard with this design and this layout. And the parking, when we park, between the 2 outfields right there, those 2 fields, not those, the others 2. I think I called softball, the field at the bottom. No, on the field at the bottom left, that field and the big field, we would park in the dirt in between 2 of those. Can you not put some parking spots in there?
Yeah,
or?
yeah, we can, in fact, with if we would want to see the larger field go away,
Mhm.
then that would actually loosen up a lot of things as far as us possibly fitting in another field and parking. The way we did our parking on this was just basically, you had parking here, and we just put some more parking in right there. Obviously, and this is something else. We didn't have a site, the actual parameters of the site, so we don't know the actual property lines. If we get those and see what we're actually working with, a lot of this stuff gets a lot tighter. This by no means is final or anything like that. It's just some kind of conceptual where you can kind of see what things can be done. And we actually like this type of dialogue because it helps us when we go back and start looking at, hey, what else can be done? What else is a need? Is it 3 fields or 4 fields instead of 4 or 3? Parking. Obviously, that was one issue that we thought about here. The concession is right here, which I believe it's somewhere around there now.
Yeah, it's way far away.
Then you got, and see, again, and maybe it's just me being selfish, but this field wasn't even there when I played there, so we never really cared about it. So,
Yeah, that's you being selfish.
Put the building where that field is there, you'd have all of that open space there.
and that was one other thing we were talking about, possibly putting this building right here, having your fields there, but it's,
Yeah, right, I'm thinking that lower left field, put the building there, and you still have all the space where the other 6 fields are, 5 fields are,
Are you-
to
Is there
make
no
parking
room?
and concession.
If you could turn that,
we have to look at that as far as the parking and ADA accessibility concerns.
If you look at the footprint of the building, it could fit in there with a lot of things. This is the kind of dialogue we really need. That's why we're saying this is an acceptable.
Mayor, does the city own the wooded area to the right of that lower?
Yep, that's a bluff right there.
Yeah, it is.
That's a
That's
bluff.
it. That's
So
tough,
what?
man.
Couple up.
Yeah, that backs up to a mountain right there.
Yeah.
And straight down for about 100 feet.
Yeah.
Sure is.
If you look at it, where is it? It's right about
Behind.
here.
No, it's fine.
Well, did they not cut that bluff out, put that field in place?
No,
Right there.
bluff's still there.
Yes.
I mean, was
It's almost
it
straight.
created
They
to?
cut
The bluff was done when I was a kid. It was a sand pit.
Uh-huh,
And I remember them digging it out, and I used to go play on that bluff and climb up and down it. And it's been there ever since I was a kid, and when they built the park, somebody had already excavated all the sand out of that area and left that bluff.
Okay.
But as far as the session, that was one of our problems on that field. I mean, we literally had to kind of drive a golf cart around over there and try to sell, because the sessions is what generates our money to pay for umpires. So if we lose a whole field, it kind of does.
And people, we ended up where we bring our own food and drinks, because it was too far.
You know.
And also, they had to go a long way, because your supplies up there,
Well,
the bathrooms, and it's just, it is, if you can return, if you don't need that big field, somehow return it and put the concessions where the left field is on that big field, and make 3 ball fields out of those 2.
Still gonna have a
Concessions
football
right there.
field. You had the football field located on the big field.
Can you
Yeah,
turn
if I
that?
would get rid of the football field, you wouldn't
Well,
have.
what I'm saying is, you know, somewhere or another, we can probably structure 2 fields on that big field.
Yeah, it can.
And what I'm saying, 2 fields is in the 2 smaller fields.
Yeah.
And then you still have 11, 12, 9, and 10. Those are gonna be your bigger fields. But see, we went through this, I'm on the board at Avondale too. And so they done the same thing, Avondale Park. They got 1 big field and 2 fields. The big field don't benefit them at all. They're really, you know, renting it out to everybody. But for their numbers, it kills. You're talking about 1 practice for 200-something kids, because they're only working with 2 fields.
And the more fields you have, the more tournaments you can have, and the bigger tournaments you can have. So I was telling him, which is more of a moneymaker for the city. And you can have some big tournaments, more fields you got, which is more money. And concessions brings in the money.
If you, we'll take all this programming information, which is what this is, and we can go back at this, and, there are all kinds of possibilities, if we just.
Can you turn that lower field around so that the diamond is,
Back there.
right, yeah, right in there, and that would move it closer to the stand, closer to the concession. There's enough room to switch directions around.
Now, we can turn any of this any way we want, but the one thing and obviously we want to see the exception. The one thing I will say though is when they put it there, I wasn't there when they built it, but it may have been some reason why it was put that way. Because obviously,
Well, they hit balls.
I'm like Larry, when I was a kid, there was just 2 or 3 fields out there, and they just added on as they needed.
Yeah.
but yeah, we can turn that. What we'll try to do now is to get the 4th park in lieu of the larger field, and try to figure out another way, the best way we can get parking concessions around that lower field that the hand is on right now.
I'll tell you something I'm more interested in the swimming pool is a splash park like Leeds has. And I think that you get more
It's on-
activity in a splash park than you will a swimming pool.
It's on there, it's right, that's
It's
it
right
right
there.
there.
Yeah, we've got that. This is actually a pretty large one right here.
Now, I will tell you, at Leeds, they do not charge for the splash park, they only charge for parties, and they rent pavilions out, and that's how they're planning on making their money. You have to be a Leeds citizen to go in there, but, and they're planning on making their money just on renting out the pavilions, and they have 3 pavilions. I see just 1. So if you could put more than 1 pavilion, even 3 smaller ones, they have 1 big one and 2 small, then that's 3 parties at one time you could have. If you only got 1 pavilion, it's 1 party.
If you cut down on the swimming pool and take it away and do bigger splash park, you can have less employees. That's a big money saver to the city most of our money goes to pay employees. And so I think if you don't have to have those 3 people, that you cut that down, and every time, if you pay a director up there $60,000, $70,000, we have to pay scale, personnel board, and that's not counting benefits, then you pay some helpers. You've gone over $100,000 every year there, and I don't know how many people you have to have watching a splash park.
If you got 3 employees at the building and